So today we're going to be working on long division again, but today we're going to be solving problems that have 3 digits being divided by 1 digit. So it's the same step. So let's take a look at those steps. So remember, we have 5 steps to doing long division. We divide, multiply, subtract, bring it on down, and then we bring it on back, which means to repeat the steps. And over here, we have all of our steps. Let me circle that for you. We have all of our steps written out. So that helps us to keep track to make sure we're doing each step while we're solving the problem. And remember, you can use our handy dandy long division wrap to help remember these steps and stay on track when you're solving the problem. So remember our wrap, we divide, multiply, and subtract, bring it on down, and bring it on back. So let's start with our first problem. Just erase that, pull up this one. All right, friends. So our first example, we are doing 904 divided by 4. So 904 is my dividend, that's what we're dividing. And 4 is my divisor, that's what we're dividing by. So I have my long division steps over to the right, and I'm going to use that to help myself stay on track. So my first step is to divide. So we're just looking at this 9 for right now. And we're going to ask ourselves, how many times can 4 go into 9 without going over? And the answer to that is twice. So I'm going to write my 2 up top. And since I've divided, I'm going to check off the division symbol so I know I can go on to my next step. So my next step is to multiply. So I'm multiplying my divisor, which is 4, by the digit that I just wrote, which is a 2. So 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. Check off that we've multiplied. Next step is to subtract. 9 minus 8 is going to give me 1. Check off that we subtract. And now we need to bring it on down. So we're going to bring our next digit, which is a 0, on down. So now we are working with the number 10. So now, since I've brought it on down, I need to bring it on back, and now we're back at division. How many times can 4 go into 10 without going over? I know 4 can go into 10 twice. So I'm going to write a 2 right on top of my 0. I'm going to check that we've divided. Next up, we need to multiply. 4 times 2 gives me 8. Now, I need to subtract 10 minus 8. Let me check off that we multiply just to keep on track. Now I need to subtract. So 10 minus 8, is going to give us 2. So I've subtracted. I'm going to check off that we've subtracted. Next step is to bring it on down. So now I need to bring on down my next digit, which is a 4. So I'm bringing that on down. And now we're working with 24. So I need to ask myself, how many times can 4 go into 24 without going over? So I'm going to check my multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Oh, that's what we were looking for. That goes in perfectly, and it goes in 6 times. So I'm going to write my 6 up top, and I'm going to check that off. We forgot to check it earlier. I'm going to check division 2. Now I need to multiply. 4 times 6 gives me 24. Check off that we multiplied again. Now I need to subtract. 24 minus 24 gives me 0. I'm going to check that we've subtracted. I don't need to bring it on down because there's no more digits to bring down. So that means I am done solving this problem. So my answer to this problem, 904 divided by 4, the answer is 226. And we don't have any remainders for this problem. Let's check out another one. All right, here's our next problem. So now we're doing 355 divided by 5. So I'm going to start by working with this 3. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 5 go into 3 without going over? I know 3 is less than 5, So it goes into 3. 5 goes into 3 0 times. So I'm going to put my 0 up top as a placeholder. I'm going to check off that we've divided. Now I need to multiply. 5 times 0 gives me 0. So I'm going to write my 0 and check off we multiplied. Now I need to subtract. 3 minus 0 gives me 3. Check off that we've subtracted. Now I need to bring it on down. So I need to bring on down another digit, our next digit, which is this 5. Bring it on down, write it right here, and now we are working with 35. I'm going to check off that we brought it on down. We need to bring it on back, and now we're back to starting with division. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 35? Let me check. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So 5 goes into 35 exactly 7 times. So I'm going to write a 7 up top. I'm going to check off that we divided. Now I need to multiply. 5 times 7 is 35. Check off that we've multiplied. Now I need to subtract. 35 minus 35 is going to give us 0. So I'm going to check off that we've subtracted. My next step is to bring it on down. So I'm going to go to my next digit, which is a 5, and I'm going to bring it all the way down here. And I'm going to write my 5. Now I'm just working with 5. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 5 go into 5? And I know it's just one time. So I'm going to put my 1 up top. Check that we brought it on down. Check that we divided. Okay, my next step is to multiply. 5 times 1 gives me 5. Check that we've multiplied. Next step is to subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0. And since I don't have any more digits to bring on down, I'm done solving this problem. So 355 divided by 5 gave us an answer of 71. So even though we have this 0 up here, you guys can see this 0 right here, we don't read that 0 when we read 71. So our answer would just be 71 and we don't have any remainder. Let's try one more problem together. All right, here's our last problem. So we are going to start with this 7 right here, and we're going to ask ourselves, 7 goes into 7 how many times? We know it only goes in once. So I'm going to put a 1 up top, and I'm going to check that, yes, we have divided. Next, I'm going to multiply. 7 times 1 equals 7. Check that we've multiplied. Next, I need to subtract. 7 minus 7 is 0. I'm going to check off that we've subtracted. My next step is to bring on down the next digit in my dividend, which is a 4. So I'm going to bring it on down and write my 4. I'm going to check. Yes, ma'am, we have brought it on down. So now we're bringing it on back to our first step, which is division. I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 7 go into 4? Uh-oh, 4 is less than 7, so it goes in 0 times. So I'm going to write a 0 up top, and it's really important to write that 0. So I've divided. Next, I'm going to multiply. 7 times 0 equals 0. Check that we've multiplied. Next, I need to subtract. 4 minus 0 just gives us 4. And we're going to check off that, yes, ma'am, we have subtracted. And our next step is to bring on our next digit in our dividend, which is a 2. So we're going to bring that 2 on down. And it turns our answer into 42. Well, it turns the dividend that we are dividing into 42. So now we need to ask ourselves, let me check off that we've brought it on down. Now we need to ask ourselves, how many times can 7 go into 42 without going over? 42 is a little bit difficult for me to do in my head, so I'm going to write out the multiples of 7, and I'm going to see how close I can get to 42 without going over. So let's see. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. Okay, so I see that 42 is actually a multiple of 7, and that is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th multiple of 7. So that means 7 goes into 42 6 times. So I'm going to check off that we have divided. Next, I need to multiply. 7 times 6 is 42. Check off, yes, ma'am, we have multiplied. Next, we need to subtract. 42 minus 42 gives us 0. So I'm going to check off that we've subtracted. I don't have any more digits left over to bring on down, so that means we are done solving this problem. So 742 divided by 7 gives us 106. So we don't have any remainders. And you'll notice in your assignment today, your answers should not have any remainders in them. So make sure to keep that in mind when you're solving your problems. Good luck!